All right, everybody, welcome to episode number 103 of CoCreative NoCode's Office Hours. I'm your host, Tonya. We're here with one of our members, Jay. Welcome, Jay. How are you?
Good.
Good. And Thomas is joining us right now as well. And then Kim is here as usual. We're going to get started in just a moment. If this is your first time tuning in to CoCreative NoCode's Office Hours, we do this every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And what Office Hours is all about is we invite our members on a Zoom call each weekday, and they can bring any bubble question or topic that they want to talk about, and we will talk about it. And if there's a bug, we will try to debug it. If there is a feature that we're trying to build, we'll try to help build it. We'll try to help you with any performance issues. Anything that I can bring to the table, I will bring it, and our members are very generous as well. If you'd like to join us for a complimentary session of Office Hours to see how it works for you, you can go ahead and comment on the live here in Facebook, or if you happen to be watching on the replay on YouTube, you can go ahead and comment there, or send us an email to team@CoCreativeNoCode.com, and we'll get back to you with credentials so you can join us and see what it's like. While you're watching this live, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that will help distribution on Facebook, same for YouTube, and don't forget to subscribe. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Jay doesn't really have anything for us today. She said she's in spreadsheet hell. Don't know if we can help with that, but we'll try. And then Thomas, do you have anything?
Just tuning in today.
Just tuning in today? Okay, cool. Awesome. Jay, what's going on with your spreadsheets? Is there anything we can help with?
I don't think so. My VA, who's wonderful, did the web scraping for me of the first catalog that we're scraping. Mm-hmm. And the data came through. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it just does, it needs to match my data types. And there's a lot that needed cleanup. And last night I started to upload these. They're not so big. It's 1,000 lines for this first one, 1,000 line items. So that's only 10, but as you try to upload it, then it gets down to the first error. So far I've tried to upload it about 6 times and I'm on line 11.
Okay. Yeah, it can be tricky to get it right, but once you do, it's much faster than doing it one by one. So
yes. Oh my God, one by one would be a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, they used to pay people money to do that. Data entry operators, that was a thing.
Yeah, I interned in college doing that.
Me too. I did a lot of data entry stuff. So
you just kind of shut your mind off and type, and I enjoy typing. So
there we go.
So anyway, so Garden Brain, I'm on the paid plan now, so it's actually live, but I haven't launched because I need data in the database before I start telling people.
Got it.
I'm telling you guys.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
It is kind of exciting.
Yeah. Awesome. Thomas, where are you with your stuff today?
Honestly, I have my uncle in town from Argentina, so
you haven't been bubbling?
Taking him around, yeah. I'm
eager
to get back to it tomorrow.
Cool. Very cool. Well, I don't know what happened this morning, but it was like a comedy of errors. So I've been working on like reporting bugs and debugging things as opposed to my regular work. So gotcha. It ate up my entire morning.
I sensed, I could hear in your voice your little irritation. So.
It's like, well, my worst nightmare is like, my worst nightmare, like actually when I'm dreaming and I have a nightmare, is generally I have something I need to do and I can't get to it to get it done.
Oh no.
Like that nightmare plagues me. It's not anything chasing me except myself, perhaps, right? It's not like there's no mortal danger. It's just I have something that I want to get done and I can't seem to get to it. Other things keep interrupting me. And that was my morning this morning. So
I get really frustrated when that happens.
It happens. It happens. Well, what should we talk about related to Bubble then today? Anything you guys want to do?
I guess talk a little more about hidden variables. I feel like that's something that keeps popping up, but most people don't seem to be wrapping their head around it.
I
Got
can't
it.
wrap my head around it.
Yeah. Say again?
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm all about it. Let's do it. So what I'll do is actually, I haven't registered my app yet. So let me show you how to register an app, a Canvas app with Canvas if you've never done that before. And then I'll take you and I'll show you hidden variables, because every page in a Canvas app that is created by Canvas has hidden variables pop-ups. So, all right, so I'm on admin, go to app data, look at the users, should only have one, I think. Gonna open up my app, my admin portal in the app. We never did build, I guess we kind of did build an admin portal, didn't we, earlier this summer?
Yeah.
I have one, and I redesigned one too.
Did you?
Yeah, we can use that if you want. I'm not sure if...
No, I was just trying to remember things that we've done and had. If you are, if you happen to be watching the replay of this on YouTube and you want to see previous episodes that were not put up on YouTube, you can join us at the CoCreative NoCode Facebook group, and they're all there. So, okay. So I need to register the app, but first I need to say, yes, this is my app identifier. Go here to register. Choose the free plan for now. Okay. And now that I have that done, it says success, I've registered. So now I should be able to come in here and add a new page. So I gotta switch to the design tab first. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a standard page to this app. We'll even call it standard, because why not? By the way, I could have done this like even faster by myself. I just like to show you like what it looks like using Canvas. Canvas is where I learned about using hidden variables. So learning Canvas. So tribute to that and taking the boot camps, well worth my time. Okay, so here we have a pop-up called hidden variables. We never ever open this pop-up on the page for the user. It is only for the developer to refer to these things. And what these things are is just groups and repeating groups sometimes. So when you create a custom state on a page, you can name it. You can say custom state 1. And you can determine a data type. Right? So I can say, okay, this is going to be, you can refer to something like a data type in your database, or a content type like text, number, date, and date range, things like that. So let's just go with, we'll just go with tally. So tally, and then you can select whether it's going to be a list or not, like that. And the same thing that you can do when you're creating a custom state, you can do in the hidden variables. So there, I created this custom state. So now I'm going to do the same thing in the hidden variables. So I come here and I say, okay, no, let me reveal this in the elements tree. Bar, 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 bar. Oh, I guess there's no hidden. Yeah, so I could just copy and paste. Copy and paste. Okay, so this I will make my, instead of custom state one, I'll make this custom hidden variable one, right? And then here's the group. And then this, I'm just going to delete because right now we'll make this a tally. And then the data source, we can go ahead and leave blank. So this would be for one tally. Or if I wanted to, I could, because remember the custom state that I just made here is a list. So I'll take the list part out. So now it's 1-to-1. This is one tally. And so is my hidden variable here. This is one tally, right? I haven't set this tally to be anything specific, just like I haven't set that state to be anything specific. I have to send information into this group to populate it, but then I have access to it, just like I would have access to a custom state. On the page, I have access to this group and the tally that it has, whatever has been sent into it for all of my workflows, right? So there's really no, I'm trying to think about like when you would use hidden variables as opposed to a custom state. I really can't think of any functional difference, like why you would use a hidden variable as opposed to a custom state. The biggest difference I can think of is that it's easier to see if you just pop open your hidden variables. It's easier to like work with them and see them than it is with the custom states, because to find custom states, you have to go to where the custom state is. And right now I put it on the main page, but technically you can put custom states anywhere on any element. I could put a custom state on this text right here. And when you start to spread them around, it can get very tricky to find them. And then if you have multiple on the page, you just end up with a long list of them, right? And it's perhaps easier to see and work with them if they're in this pop-up, which you can make longer as you need it, and it spaces them apart. Does that make sense?
Yeah, is there any point where you shouldn't like add a bunch of, I guess, little hidden variables, and like how many things should I add in a pop-up? Does that matter? That's really what I'm trying to get to.
No.
Can I just extend it? Okay.
No, so I say no, but here's the thing is I had an app once that I got to, and I looked at the hidden variables because it was a Canvas app. And I had to scroll like down 3 pages worth, and there were some crazy number of hidden variables in there. And we were having such a hard time even updating the app, right? Because it got crazy. So I say that there's not a limit to how many hidden variables you can have here. The limit is the complexity and how it's going to affect your whole experience, developing now, developing later, and making things clean and neat and easy to find. And anytime you can simplify, like we were looking at Jacob's app yesterday, and he's like got 18 conditionals on one thing. Like anytime you see that kind of thing, like generally there's going to be a simpler or more elegant way to do it, right? Now I showed you how you can do this for one thing, right? So if you wanted to do a group of things, like a list of things, a list of tallies. So in the custom state, we could just add a new one. Make it the same type, make it tally, and then make it a list. I think this part is easier than the hidden variables. For here, what I would do is I would just convert this into a repeating group instead. And now it's a list of things. Right. And so the data store is still blank, but it's a list of things, just like this, the custom state is a list of things, a list of tallies. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so if it's a list of things, use repeating group.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yep. And I just find that I think it's easier for people, especially, okay, here's the main advantage, I think, is when you are transferring an app, when someone else takes over developing your app, or if you ever need to add another developer to your team to the app, using hidden variables is cleaner and easier to transfer knowledge on than to do custom states.
Gotcha, that makes sense. Yeah, like custom states are just a pain in the, to find.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're super powerful and I love to use them and I use them all the time, but hidden variables, I think, is neater and cleaner. There are some times when you have to have the hidden variable on the page. It won't work in the hidden, in the pop-up. So there are occasions where you can't put it in the pop-up. And
do you have like an example for that, by just out of curiosity?
I'm trying to think. Let me see if I can find an example, because I know I've run into it in a couple of
Gotcha.
Juan's apps where he put it on the page and he explained that it wouldn't work in the pop-up.
Yeah.
So let me get the exact use case for it, but it would be the same reason why, like, one of these plugin elements that will go in here, and you take the plugin and it wouldn't work if you put it if you hide it, it has to be visible on the page in order for it to work. So so if it's storing anything related to something like that or whatever, I assume it would have to be on the page. So,
Gotcha.
Yep. Did that help clear up hidden variables and what you might use it for?
Yes, for the most part, it's just easy fetching. Like, it's easy to just access these pop-ups and just the content within these variables.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just easier to organize in general. So
yeah, if I go to the admin page, I can show you what the admin page is pretty much pre-developed for you on any Canvas app. So when you go to the pop-up hidden variables, there's probably, yeah, you can see there's several more.
Launch checklist,
right?
Yeah.
And
yep.
Yeah, so, and I find this like much easier than going in here and looking at the custom states.
Yeah, sometimes it's like where you store the custom state too. It's like, oh man.
Yeah.
It's not on the page.
Well, I learned from Greg John from Build Camp when I was doing his Udemy course at the very beginning of my bubbling, like to always put all of the custom states on the page level. That way you can find them.
There was a scenario where we were working together where it wasn't stored on a custom state. I'll have to look back because this is totally out of context, but where we put it on a repeating group instead of the state, and I never managed to ask why we put it on the repeating group instead of the page. I'll take a look back later though.
Cool. I think that might have been when I was trying to access a custom state from within a repeating group.
Oh, okay.
And the repeating group could only access the states of the group that the repeating group was in. I think that's true. We could test that.
Yeah, I think we're working on the messenger.
we could test that. Hang on a second. I'll go to the standard page. And so if I have here, actually, I'll just add a new one. Group. So if I have a group, and then I have a repeating group within the group, and then I have a custom state on the page. And I want to access the page. No, it lets me access it. I think it had something to do with repeating groups though. There was some reason why we would put it on a specific thing in the page instead of the page itself. Like there was some sort of logic.
Yeah, gotcha.
Hey, Sheshadri, how are you?
Hey, Tonya, I'm fine. How about you?
I'm great. Welcome. It's good to see you.
It's an honor for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you bring anything for us today?
Tonya, I have a couple of doubts. I request you to make sessions on a couple of things. One is whenever we make an application on Bubble, so it should be converted into an Android app. So basically, by using an Android Studio, so we will be able to make it a .apk file and upload it in a Play Store. One part, and second part is integrating Bubble with Firebase, and whenever we can push the notification to the user whoever use the Android app. That is one thing. Two things, and one more suggestion is there. The thing is that whenever you upload the video that you are recording currently, not just mentioning 101, 102. So you can describe it, the session description. You can, you can add on to it. That is what my suggestion is.
Okay, hang on just 1 second. I'll be right back and we'll get to those.
Yeah, sure.
Thomas, can you take over for a moment?
Sure.
Thanks.
Hey, Sheshadri, are you like looking to do something specific in general?
Specific in the sense, you make some small application on Bubble. Okay. So
Gotcha.
install an Android Studio into a system. So by just copy paste the URL into particular part in the Android Studio, you can just download an APK. So and that pushing that APK into a Google Play Store whenever the user wants to search that particular application and download it. So it is more of a hybrid application, not a native app. One thing. The second thing is
Gotcha.
the push notification part. Using Firebase, we can do that, but I'm not certain. I mean, I heard somewhere that we can do it using Firebase. So it would be helpful if you make a session on it.
Sure. Gotcha.
I'm back. Okay. Thomas, were you starting on something with
Nope.
Sheshadri? No?
Just getting him to explain a little further.
Okay, got it. What did he explain?
For the most part, from what I understood, is you're trying to work with Android Studio, right? Sheshadri?
Android Studio. You need to download Android Studio and JDK.
Oh, so BDK?
JDK, not PDK. PDK is an
TDK.
I think so. JDK, Java Development Kit.
I'm having a hard time understanding. Maybe if we write it down, could you type the request in the chat?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Okay, awesome. Because I think there were 3 things, right?
Yeah, and then it was working with Firebase was one another thing he had mentioned. So. How's Mama doing?
Oh, how's my mom doing?
Yeah.
She's good.
Hanging out.
Yeah, she's hanging out, and then she'll be back. Let's see. She's coming back over later today. She's actually staying with my Tucson parents right now.
Oh, there you go.
So, which is nice. I get to see them.
When you say Tucson parents, are they just people like family friends?
Yeah, they're family friends. I adopted because when I moved here, I didn't have any family or
I got
like here, so I just
Where'd you find them? Through an agency?
through a roommate.
Ah,
Yeah, through a roommate. Through I think it was roommates.com back in 2004. I signed up and I met my friend Nadia and we moved in together, and I met my Tucson dad because he was helping her move into the condo where we were going. And then a year later, she started taking me over to their house we would have American Idol Tuesdays. So they would host a party and people would bring food or whatever, and then we'd all hang out and watch American Idol together. It was so much fun.
what fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And then when she was
At
when
least
she
it wasn't Craigslist.
so where I met them, like where I met my roommate.
Yeah.
Oh no, see, I met Garth on Craigslist, so
Oh damn, really?
I'm partial to Craigslist.
Oh.
I'm so sketched out by Craigslist.
They don't let you meet people that way anymore. You have to
Yeah.
sneak it in. So yeah, but love of my life, I met him on Craigslist.
There you go.
Never knew that.
It's like your own personal notebook right there.
Now you know. Yes, my own personal notebook. Exactly. He was embarrassed. He wouldn't tell people that that's where we met. He told people we met at a dog park, but I didn't have a dog, so it didn't make any sense. I was like, what? He
I'm like, it
was
doesn't get more romantic than Craigslist. Come on.
Come on.
You got lucky. You
Yeah.
both got lucky.
Oh yeah, no, I kissed my fair share of frogs on Craigslist too. So but I finally won. Okay, so basically develop an app on Bubble, as this is Sheshadri's question. Deploy the app and use the URL to paste it in an Android Studio code. Next, generate an APK and then upload it on Google Play Store. Secondly, integrate Firebase. Hang on just a second.
Firebase.
With the app to give push notification features. So I think what you're describing is actually very much like what BDK does for Bubble. And you're just talking about doing it yourself, right? So you're
BDK basically is chargeable. Sorry to interrupt you.
yeah,
BDK
no,
basically-
yeah, they're charging a lot of money for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be done free of cost.
Yes. Yeah, you can. It's true. There are a lot of little perks with having BDK because he's figured it out already. But Gaurav at BDK is not doing, or the people over at Nativator, and there's like a couple others, they're not doing anything that you can't do for yourself. They've streamlined it. They have a process for it and they can make it easier on you so you don't have to do it yourself. But if you're asking me if I've done any of those things, I have not. I have done a little bit of integration with OneSignal for push notifications that was outside of BDK. So it was more for like the desktop. But I've not actually wrapped an app myself and successfully gotten, or I haven't even tried, much less successfully gotten it onto the Play Store. Is that something you're planning to do?
Yeah, correct. So
Okay.
basically we can use OneSignal, right? Did you make any of the video on the YouTube available that you made a sessions of it?
No,
Or,
so this was almost a year ago when I was playing around with that, and I had a client who hired me to get some things working, and so I wasn't recording it at the time. I was working on a private client app, but we can, I can go in there and we can take a look at it now. OneSignal, is that what you were interested in?
yeah, we can.
So if I log in, it's probably remember my old, yeah, that's not it. So the nice thing when you do use BDK is for all of the stuff having to do with the native notifications. So like in your mobile app that was downloaded to the device via Play Store or Apple's App Store, Gaurav sets that up for you. I don't know about Nativator and other wrappers, but Gaurav actually sets all of that up for you. So you don't even have to go into OneSignal to get that part working, I don't think. But for the other pieces of the puzzle, like the other browsers, you have to do it yourself. And I think here, settings. Yeah, so you have your web push platforms, and then I was just focused on Chrome. I remember there was like a little bit of trickiness here because because even though we use HTTPS for our bubble apps, we needed to accommodate HTTP as well. So like, I think we had to click here that it wasn't, and then we had to make this label here. And then depending on what you're using, I ended up having to install a plugin, a rather expensive plugin to get all of this working, called OneSignal Pro.
How expensive?
Like $150.
Pretty expensive.
Pretty expensive. I tried like some less expensive ones, but I wasn't able to get it to work on that. So OneSignal Pro, this one. And this one, once I got it installed and working, it was relatively easy. If I recall correctly, from back, I was doing this late October, early November of last year. My headache was getting the mobile app stuff to work, and the problem was my client had given me the wrong login. So all the stuff that Gaurav had put together was not on the login that I had. And once we figured that out, most of the problems resolved themselves.
What's the difference between the Pro and the other one? That is one about the Pro.
Yeah, so this one's by a particular plugin developer called 2bits here. You can find, if you search OneSignal Push Notifications Pro into the Bubble forum, you can find some forum posts by the actual plugin developer. I think the guy who owns this plugin and sells it actually hired someone else to make the plugin for him. But he does a good job of explaining things and has documentation, but you can try. This was almost a year ago, so I'm sure things have changed and been improved quite a bit. So the other thing that I ran into that was really tricky when you're testing push notifications is you have to clear your cookies a lot, and you also have to like turn off notifications to get it to prompt you again to turn them back on. So it was here I'm on a Chromebook. So like here are the different, like, I don't know, places on the internet that I'm allowing push notifications from. Right. And so I would have to keep coming in here and turn it off and go to my site settings. and find the app, and I would delete the cookies for the editor and also for the domain itself, so that when I was testing to make sure that it was prompting for giving permission on the browser, that was tricky. I had to figure all of that out like myself. Nobody told me to do that. I just was like, I bet you this isn't prompting me because I already gave it permission.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's also key when you're trying to test with different test users with sample data, because you'll end up the same exact like OneSignal identification key on all of the users. So anytime any notification goes to one of those users, it pops up, right? Because it's all connected. His OneSignal is connected to your device, right? That's how that works. So if you're signed in, like I would get the notifications for multiple accounts. So yeah, it can be a little tricky testing notifications. So
Thanks. Thank you, Tonya.
yeah. Yep. And then I think there's more here. Did you add more? Oh, nope. Okay. Did somebody message me privately?
I didn't.
No.
Nope.
No? Nobody messaged me privately? Oh, this must be yours that I see. I'm just careful because I know you can read my screen. So sometimes if I get a private message, I won't show it on this. So, all right.
Tonya,
Was that-
one last doubt I have?
Sure.
See, integrating WhatsApp messages, like whenever you type the number there and in a text box, in an input field, we'll be typing some messages. If you hit send button, it should be able to go to the particular person's WhatsApp message. Is there any, plugin needed, or how we can do that? Any method? WhatsApp message.
So integrating, I don't know if WhatsApp has an API or anything like that. I think you
Simply-
can start like we'll have to, yeah. So there's like they're different. Yeah, so send and receive WhatsApp messages globally with Twilio. So there's lots of things like that, I guess.
Any free plugins like it? It's costly. No?
So this is just if you want them to be able to message you on WhatsApp. So this allows them to join a WhatsApp group and then something else. To share something on WhatsApp. All right. So this is still one-sided. So are you just talking about doing like customer support through WhatsApp, where you're only
CRM.
interested in the user sending you messages and you be able to send messages back?
Correct. See, building a CRM. So here we need to send messages, couple of messages, and the interaction also should be seen on the repeating group. That is what the basic idea is.
Oh, so you want them to be able to manage their WhatsApp messages in your app?
So that we can do it in a like a small this HTML element. What is that called? HTML element that we can take and restrict that.
Okay, but Sheshadri, I'm having a hard time understanding you, but are you saying you want, like you said CRM, if I heard you correctly, is that right? So you're wanting them to be able to receive and send WhatsApp messages from within your app, not just to you, but to other people as well.
No, just whoever is viewing the CRM, whoever the owner is, he must be able to send the messages to the that particular lead. So if the lead
Right.
interacts on the WhatsApp, that
Yeah.
should be able to see in the CRM. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't see any here. Message, use public group and channel links for Messenger. So I'm not seeing anything specifically for that. I'm not seeing any kind of, because essentially you'd have to have the user OAuth into WhatsApp so that you could get permissions and have like scope. And I don't think that WhatsApp allows for that. I could be wrong, but let me check. What's API? Or I should say OAuth. So it's not just OAuth, but you'd have to have a scope within the OAuth to be able to do what you're talking about doing. And I kind of assume if that was something that we could do, that we would have a plugin, at least a paid plugin to do it. So you have a social login, but WhatsApp. I'm just reading as quickly as I can. Yeah, I'll see if anybody knows if this can be done. I'll just ask a general question at AirDev and see if anybody knows if it can be done. But my guess is no. But then my guess was no for something having to do with Instagram, and I was completely wrong. There's actually a plugin for it and everything. So take that with a grain of salt. But yeah. Any other questions?
Not off the top of my head.
All right.
There's always questions though.
Yeah, there's always something to talk about. Jay,
Still
anything
have
come
to-
up for you?
Still in spreadsheet, Hal. I'm gonna be here for days.
Oh,
Dang,
that does
bro.
not sound like fun. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no. And this is just the first catalog.
Oh, gosh.
Uh-huh.
So Jay, are you like just uploading all your data onto Bubble? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I don't want people to have to, every time you add a plant, there's a ton of information, like how high it grows, how far to space it. There's like 14 fields that people want to know about. But I don't want people to have to add that every time they add a plant. So instead, I've had my VA scrape the major seed catalogs and plant selling catalogs and collect that data. So I'm preloading the database with the information. So if you pick a certain type, like a patented petunia or just a generic weeping cherry tree or something, it's already there. So when you go to add a plant, you select from the drop-down list you're offered. It's not a drop-down list, it's a repeating group and a search, a fuzzy search. So you put in weeping cherry and then all the weeping cherries in the database are offered to you. You select which one you think is right. And then you go straight to the personal information. Where did you buy it? What bed did you plant it in? What did you pay for it? Boom, you're done. You don't have to enter a gazillion things. So before I do any advertising or spread the word or even tell my friends that this site is live, I want to get at least one of the catalogs uploaded because it'll make a huge difference in the user experience.
Gotcha. Cool stuff.
So I've got 1,000 line items right now.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I didn't go with you know, you can only upload 100 lines CSV at once if you're on the lowest level paid plan. And Callum suggested that I just go ahead and spend the 150 for the month for professional. But I thought, it's a spreadsheet. You know, how hard is it to click upload a few times?
Just go to hell and back it's not that big of a deal.
Well, the fact is that there's so many little errors in the spreadsheet. What it does is it uploads until it finds an error and then it errors out. And there's so many that, like, I'm glad, I don't care. It's good to do it in 100 line chunks because it's more manageable to find and fix the mistakes. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Next time I might do it differently, and I might go ahead, because there's so much more I plan to upload, I might go ahead and spend the, you know, additional 120 for the month, get the other plan and do it all at once. But for this first one, I just don't think it matters. There's so many,
Sure.
like I said, so many little things.
No, I feel you. There will always be so many little things.
You know,
Either fortunately or unfortunately.
there totally will be. And I'm okay with that. I don't expect perfection, but there is a level of like a level of user experience quality that I think I really want to have. I'm afraid that people will come use it because it's a fairly complex site. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do. So anything that eases friction and makes them more likely to start uploading data is a huge benefit.
Yeah, at least you're thinking in that direction. I think once you'll go live, you'll sense the pressure of being live and having to fix things a lot faster and prioritizing things. But you know,
it'll be an
in the right
interesting
direction.
experience. I really don't know what to expect. Honestly, in the past, when I've
Yeah.
worked on apps that have gone live, it was in a corporate environment. I had a team, and you know, when there's a team, when there's 9 people working on stuff just gets done. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
You know, nobody has to take a lunch break. The dog doesn't have to go out. Your brain doesn't shut down. There's 8 more brains still working on it.
Right. Yeah, teamwork is key. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, especially for entrepreneurs who want to make it in no code, right? They're just doing it all individually.
There's so many directions you can get pulled in
Yeah.
because everything is important, you know?
Mhm. For sure.
I
Yeah,
did do
Tonya,
a lot of, go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
No, I'm
go
just
ahead,
chatting.
Go ahead. Finish, please. Finish.
I've put some thought into what Reese was saying last week about TikTok. And
Cool.
yeah, and I watched the video he recommended. I've got a few more lined up I plan to watch. And then Monday, I definitely spent the entire day out in the garden with that stupid knockoff GoPro strapped to my head. Looked like
Oh,
a
you're trying to produce
lunatic.
content? Was that what you're trying to do?
Creating content, yeah.
Yeah, I got a ton of content, and I've got
That's cool.
I have this fantastic gate. As you enter my property, there's this really beautiful gate with a moon. It's a moon gate with a round window like in it. And then you come in and there's these really nice weeping evergreens. You go through a trellis. I just built the trellis on Monday. I'm thrilled. I had an IV pole holding up that tree for like 2-3 years. I'm like, the IV pole is gone. Now there's what there should be there. I'm super excited. So anyway, I made a video of like coming into the property, and then you go up to the gate, you see the window, it gets closer and closer. The gate opens, you walk in, there's the trellis, you walk through it. And then there's these weeping cedar branches that just block the view, and they just kind of hit the lens. So I'm going to cut it right there and have it fade into Welcome to Garden Brain. Not a gardening app. I'm going to say something like, not like any other gardening app.
Garden Brain headquarters.
Yeah. Don't look at the dead things.
That's cool. That's cool. Good stuff. Yeah, TikTok's nice. I was actually recommending somebody else as well, just based off of our conversation. I was like, just get on it, man. Just like do something. Just the level of attention you'll be able to get is not comparable to any other site, essentially, because of the freshness of the applications.
Well, I thought about what he said, and you said, both of you, or about being consistent. And then the video, the YouTube that Reese recommended, I believe, said, don't worry about it being perfect. Don't filter it. Don't edit it. Just put it out there. And I was like, well, that I can do. All I need to do is throw it up into their editor, cut, a 20-minute video into, 4 or 5 choice 90-second or 30-second videos, and throw my logo on it, put the music on it, and I'm good to go. And you can schedule in advance. So I can, do my gardening usually on the weekends, of course, and Sunday night or Monday, splay out the whole week or even 2 weeks worth of content and just have it out there every single day. I mean, that seems like a no-brainer, at least until frost. I don't know what I'm going to do in the winter.
The best part about that too is that like you will be able to get direct feedback from your own actions. You'll be like, okay, this didn't work. Oh, okay, this worked. You'll see like the results, and that's like, I think that's just generally the cool part about things, just getting things done.
Have you used it to advertise anything?
I've not. I've spent a little bit of time on it before. I just like watching videos randomly. I never signed up, but you can access links easily, right? So I would just look at like related memes and all that jazz. And then my mom's always sending me stuff, and I just pick up on little patterns, like kind of what Reese was saying. Use like certain types of music. You'll see some of the more popular ones are used more often. You'll see that you'll have like a voiceover that's usually like the iPhone girl or like some British guy.
Yeah.
And you'll just start seeing little patterns as you start to just watch more TikTok videos. That's why I was recommending last time. I was like, just study some of what anything related to gardening is doing on TikTok.
I did.
You might get some ideas. Did you find that useful at all?
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely useful. I've asked my VA and then the auxiliary VA who's helping with social media more. They're not really TikTok users themselves. I asked them to become TikTok users and apply, because they know a lot more. I don't know anything about like hashtags and stuff. They handle all that for me. And there's a lot about it I don't know. So they already know. So I was like, if you guys could take what you know and, you'll understand this faster than I will. And honestly, we all know I'm a control freak. Otherwise I wouldn't be on NoCode. And I wouldn't have done so many things myself instead of using a plugin or paying a thing. I would have, I like things the way I like them. So I'm going to do a lot of my own content creation because I'm super particular about it. But when it comes down to actually doing things like, the hashtags, the scheduling, and even things like adding my logo to it, they can handle all that.
Gotcha.
But the videos and stuff, I definitely want to keep some good control over. It's your brand, it's not just that I like it the way I like it. It needs to represent Garden Brain, and no one knows it like me. At some point, hopefully, the business it'll become a business, it will grow, and I'll have to step back from some of these things. But I'm not there yet, so I'm going to enjoy it while I can.
Nice. That's awesome. Get your face out there, Jay.
I feel like for Garden Brain that it's important that there is a human element. So I am using myself some. I don't like being videoed, but I can do it. One thing I plan to do for the Facebook and Instagram presence, and I'll probably use it on TikTok too, is after I've launched and I'm working on things that are more visual and fun, like the next game that I'm going to work on, which you've seen the beginning of. It's the companion plant matching game. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do some of that, like with screen captures. And when I do a new feature, I'm going to introduce myself like real quick, say, hey, here's what's happening at Garden Brain today. I'm working on this feature that was requested. Let's see how it goes. And then just do some screen captures, speed them up, especially if they're visual, like with icons and stuff. And then, release that after the feature's live and be like, okay, people, let me know what you think. It's out there for you. And I'm going to introduce new features like that. I think that'll be cute and fun.
Do it. Yeah. It's all that matters. Just get out there.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff though.
More games. That sounds like fun. I like the games.
Me too.
I've been a little anxious this week because I've just been with family and paint work. I'm like, man, I just want to bubble. I'm like, I could see my skills withering away from here. It's horrible.
I don't think they're withering.
Yeah, but and that's why I've been so pressed to come back on here. I'm like, Uncle, listen, I love you, but I need to take a break.
I
Talking
think,
of, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, talking of things we could do for a future call, perhaps,
Ooh.
was that we had talked about getting you to have like an index page on your CoCreative site where people can easily access specific things like specific build-alongs. Is that
Mhm.
something that you still want to do, or?
Yeah, so my evil plan, poor Kim. We're looking at we're looking at a video editing
Kim's
software.
like, dude, come on.
So she can go
We
back
don't
and
even know which one.
we don't even know which one yet. We're working on it. We're thinking Adobe though.
Gotcha.
And then she has to learn it, and then she can start taking some of our build alongs and separating them out and that kind of thing and putting them up there. I've also thought about making a section in the member portal for the Zoom calls, because we're syndicating to YouTube. And so we can start putting those YouTube links right on the page and make them a bit more like searchable with our internal tagging system. So a couple ideas.
There you go.
Yeah.
Need any help? Let me know.
Are you going to use Adobe
Absolutely.
Premiere?
That's what I think we were thinking of doing. What do you recommend? Do you have one that you recommend?
I mean, if you're comfortable with Adobe products, I don't think you can really go wrong with Adobe Premiere.
Got it.
Are you looking
never
for
used
it to automatically index by like keyword or something?
No, not automatically. We're not trying to go complete automation here. Well, I
I
like
hate my job.
I like
Everything
I
is
like
automated.
you. No, you wouldn't. You just hang out with me. But but no, I think we'll stick with Kim's human processing.
I've never worked with Adobe before, but I guess if I'm just gonna be cropping out stuff, sensitive
Yeah.
information.
No,
I
but
was
is
trying to
that
think-
does that require a program on your computer? Because I might have to get you a different computer.
You'll need to download, you'll need to subscribe. It's not cheap. And it is a pretty, it's pretty resource intensive. It takes up a lot of space.
Okay.
But you can, if you're a subscriber to Creative Cloud, and I don't know the other options because I only use Creative Cloud, so I get access to the whole repertoire. But it's easy to uninstall and reinstall. So if you can install Premiere or whatever, use it for that day or that project, and then take it off and easily get it back with your settings in place. It will hold your settings.
Got it. That might not work for us. We might have to find a different solution or get Kim another machine. So, one way or the other, we'll get it done.
I mean, what else have you looked at?
I tried looking for free softwares, but then Tonya said like to get one that we can invest in, so in the future I can still use it. Because the free softwares always have this watermark when you try to export the video.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Well, is the real problem that it seems to me that what would make this easiest for you guys is to use a product with audio search, because the video is no big deal. You can chop that, slice that in many different programs.
Right. Well, I mean, Kim is already doing the timestamps.
Mhm.
So finding where we start build along shouldn't be a problem. And finding certain sections of the videos based on those timestamps shouldn't be a problem.
I was thinking more that there's a lot of the time before the build alongs where there's a conversation about a bubble topic or a bubble how-to thing that is, people like when you and Thomas were doing the message, the chat build out that you've done kind of over a period of weeks. You did a little bit at a time. It would be awesome to be able to find those, which were not always a build along. Sometimes they were kind of casual. And then also to find them what days they were, because it
Mhm.
wasn't just one day and it wasn't consecutive days.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could do those with, you could use an audio search and get those, then you could do more than one kind of index.
Mhm.
You could have an index by topic as well as an index by like category.
That's right.
It's
And if you're
true.
going to go through these things to put the timestamps on them and organize them, it would totally bite to have to come back in
For
2 or
sure.
3 months for a phase 2, go through them all again to find the more sophisticated.
Oh, what I was saying is Kim is doing the timestamps as we are doing the live
Wow, Kim.
video.
Pity
Yeah.
you. I would be so bad at that.
But then Tonya had to actually teach me how to do keywords, or if I didn't know the keyword, I'd have to ask her live. Yeah, because before I used to type stuff like, "Oh, Jay joins office hours," and
I was
now
like,
it's just like the main topic, like app messenger plugins.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, one, I think, I mean, like there's audio searches that would probably be a pain to implement, and I don't know what they cost, but I doubt that they're free, and I really doubt that they're cheap.
I
But,
mean, I've invested in Otter before, and for CoCreative NoCode. I use it all the time at AirDev. It does a really good job of transcribing the audio.
yeah,
And the reason I stopped using it for CoCreative NoCode was it was interfering with my recording, like my going live. So it was, but technically we could take the recordings that are on Zoom that you work with already, Kim, and I could just have you process those with otter.ai, and then we could use that to generate a transcript and actually publish a transcript.
Yeah,
So
we can put a transcript link out there, huh?
yep, we could.
that's interesting. I looked at this, I don't know, a year ago for goldfish, and it wasn't going to Otter. It wasn't going to work for me. I'm looking at it now, and I want to add later. I want to add audio notes in Garden Brain, so
Mhm.
you can be out in your garden and you notice that you need to trim that tree or do whatever, but you don't want to. You're just kind of in a rush. I want you to be able to open Garden Brain, hit a big record button, and take a note. And then I want that note to be transcribed and appear in your notes or your reminders.
But then you're like, from a user perspective, you're still having them. Are you telling Garden Brain to open from your phone or your computer? How are you accessing Garden Brain without by direct voice?
From your phone.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So you'd be like, hey, Garden Brain. So Garden Brain would open, remind me that this, and then it would remind you that this.
Yeah, just the
Or
way you
without.
talk to Siri, but I mean, I doubt it would be
Okay.
that smooth. I think they're going to have to open
Yeah.
the app. I don't think does Siri open apps or only open some apps? I don't remember.
I
Siri
will
never
know that
listens
from
to
my
me.
Google does not. My Google hears me when it's off. Like I'll be like, Google, where the hell are you? I'm like, and it's like, it's it's yells at me from like 3 rooms away or something like that.
Yeah,
But it doesn't not open.
I keep telling Alexa to do stuff, and I pulled out Illy's Fire tablet that she got for Christmas, and because I needed to test something Android, and I keep telling Alexa to like turn on or turn off my office light, and then this little tablet will start talking to me, and I'm like, wrong Alexa.
well, I would just put a button on the index page that would only display if the current page width was mobile size, and that would just be a audio note button. So all you'd have to do is, because is open Garden Brain up from your home screen, and then tap that button and make a note. The challenge is
you might just be able to be like, hey Siri, open Garden Brain app, and then then be able to access from there.
I think I have to make it a PWA before that's at all possible, but I'm not sure.
I really feel iffy about PWAs. I think they're just not as responsive as people make it seem. Maybe it's just like too early in the I've just seen some not so good PWAs so far. It doesn't seem like a worthwhile investment at the current moment.
Which ones have you seen
I
that are
I saw
slower?
the Zoom one that was just an absolute, I don't know. It was like, I guess
And
maybe
then-
I was just a little too, maybe I was just too unhealthily critical of it. It just didn't seem to me very, very intriguing. I just found no point to it.
I want the app on their screens, on their mobile screens, without the what do you call it? Without the address bar. That's kind of the main thing for me. And I want them to
Maybe
get the flash screen.
Maybe I don't quite understand. So I guess a PWA is just like integrated with your computer essentially, right? Like you can access it. I have to do more research on this topic. As you can tell.
Yeah, so
fully
the PWA is loading I think it stores a copy of itself or something like that. Like, so you can use it offline, right?
Yeah, I get it. So yeah, so let's sort. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll only work for some functionality because a lot of functionality is going to require that you be online.
Right.
So.
Yeah, like you could do Google Docs offline for sure. You know, like PWA, I feel like would be perfect for something like that. You're just storing notes.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm surprised I haven't seen PWAs. How long have they been around? I haven't seen a lot of hype for it, right?
I think
Like,
that they're
you see
kind
hype
of
for Bubble.
transparent. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know that Zoom is one. Starbucks is also one.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah. So you can install it on your home screen. So with the PWA, it's an app, it's a website, but you can install it on your home screen. So it acts like an app, and a user's experience of it, basically, it's a website they experience as an app from a user perspective. From a developer's perspective, there's some resource benefits. Like you said, you can cache some data and some images so that it works more quickly. You can use it without being online. And there's a couple of other things that are useful for it. I think that the main thing though, for independent developers like us, is that you can then create an app that no one has to go to the app store to get. I mean, from your point of view, you're not spending the money to upload to the app store, go through the approval process, pay them the yearly nut, and then also pay them a fat percentage of every dollar that they make from your revenue.
I think that's the main thing.
Huge one.
That's devastating. That's
Yes, it is.
Sure, I gotcha. Yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
that not having to pay the percentage part is the huge.
It's if you're paying 15% of your revenue to the store, if you cut that and instead you spent 10% of your revenue on SEO, you would be, I don't know if you'd be as well off. I don't think you'd be worse off, especially when you look at all the competition in the store, where people can't really tell just by scrolling down why your app is different from the app above it or the app beneath it.
Mm-hmm.
To find out if you're going to like that app, at least what I do is I click on it and then I look at some of the reviews. The reviews are sparse usually, and they're often old, and then you've got to poke around. When was it last updated? What else do I want to know about this before I decide to install it? Well, that's a lot of a hassle.
It is.
And when you're trying to pick an app for a function that, I don't know, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, there's always a few at the top that are probably relevant to you. And then as you go down, there's more and more. And a lot of them look pretty shady. They just look shady. And that kind of, to me, makes me wonder if the rest of them are shady. You get that what is the word I'm looking for? The shadow of it casts on all of them. What am I really putting on my phone? Is it safe? I don't know. Is a PWA going to appear more trustworthy? I doubt it, but at least with the website, you can go get more information about them. You can do a lookup. I mean, if you were curious, you could find out more.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I think you convinced him, Jay.
Now I feel less. I feel a little bad for being so harsh about it at first. I plead ignorant.
Oh.
I was like,
don't.
maybe I shouldn't take this harsh tone without being so, ignorant.
Well, I mean, the
While
cool
remaining
thing
so
is if you're on an app and you don't realize that it's progressive.
PWA.
Yeah.
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 Well, after I
I
tried-
found that the Zoom. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was saying I found that the Zoom one was very noticeably a progressive web app. Just
What
the
did
way
you-
it was styled. Yeah.
Like, what are
I
you
think- I
talking?
think
Where is this that you're getting the one from the Zoom?
It was just during a chat that we had a while back. I remember it was just the way it was responding. I think we were kind of like testing it, and just the elements didn't look sharpish, and
You're
just
talking
wasn't
about
expanding as quickly.
you're talking about Zoom as in we are on a Zoom call right now.
No, yeah, we were on a Zoom call, and it was the first time I've had actually seen the PWA.
Okay,
And
got
You
it.
were showing us that it was a Zoom PWA, and you were showing how it was different. From
Got
the
it.
web app.
Yeah,
Yep.
they that was some sort of aberration because it has gone back to normal. So it was like for one day I had a PWA and then it reverted itself back, and now I use the Zoom
Really?
Chrome extension. Yeah. Yeah, it was just for one day and then it was like disappeared. I was like, oh, that's weird.
Gotcha. That's weird.
So
Yeah,
it was
that's
like
strange.
maybe they were testing it out and they got a lot of complaints or something.
You may have just been one of those like A/B testers.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
just they were trying it out and they were like, oh well, she seems to be complaining. We'll turn it back off.
Let's get out of here.
Gotta keep Tonya happy.
Let's get out of here. It's fine.
Awesome. Well, I'm not in a hurry to hang up, but if we don't have anything, like, I don't know if you guys want to hang out or whatever. I don't have any content planned, is what I'm saying. So I'm happy to continue, or we can sign off.
Did you end up figuring out with the Tucson hackathon? You said they're pushing until what, October? Was that what you said?
November. Yeah,
November. Okay. Yeah.
They didn't hit the milestones that they wanted in order to push forward with the October date. So they're going to November instead. So, and as soon as I do know a date, I'll definitely put it out there so you and Jay can put it on your calendars, and anyone else who wants to join. And we'll get our team together. I'm excited for it. I'm
Me
actually,
too, honestly.
yeah, I'm definitely excited for it. And I was even thinking like we could, if we figure out what we want to build, we don't necessarily have to wait for that. We could do our own thing.
Yeah.
We could
I
do
was-
both.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was thinking about retouching some of the UX stuff I had and doing like a organized brainstorm session, so we can
Okay.
actually like nail down some idea we could just stick to and just build for the sake of just having.
And just build it. Yeah, no, I think
Yeah,
think
just
that
for the
would
sake of
be
having
great
fun,
for that
'cause-
that time, like when we're sitting here, all three of us are together, and we could be building something together,
Yeah,
and that would be
exactly.
fun for sure.
Instead of sticking of like, I feel like maybe the way I was approaching it was like, let's get a real idea going. And I'm like, man, it's really complicated.
It doesn't-
just bring up an
does-
idea like that.
It doesn't have to. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
real ideas start somewhere, right? So
sure.
like
for
we
sure.
can, yeah.
I
I've
would
got it.
test these things too. I would be like, let's build something. I will go out into the world and talk to people about it.
Well, and
Like, look,
that's
this is what we
that's the
built.
point of startup weekend, right? Is to get you out of the building to go and validate the idea. So like come up with
Yeah.
a bunch of ideas and send people out to validate them, and
Yeah.
hopefully
I
some
will-
of them are, valid, right?
I will very gladly do that on our team if no one else.
Okay,
I love that aspect of it.
awesome. We've got a volunteer for the part that like I don't want to leave my house ever.
That's me.
Like, please don't make
I
me
love
leave
the
the
chance.
house.
I love the chance. Any chance I get to adventure, I'm like, I'm going. Let's do this.
The world hasn't beaten it out of him yet, Jay.
No, still fresh. Still fresh.
At some point, it's like, really? Really?
Have you guys thought about what kind of project you'd want to do?
Yeah, we tossed around some ideas last week.
Mhm.
Very self-absorbed of me. I can remember the one that I had, I think. but there were
Yeah, it's funny. Me too. I can remember my own.
okay.
What were they?
Yeah. What was yours, Thomas?
I'm trying to remember yours. It's the funniest part. I think you were talking about a food service.
Yes.
Oh, that.
Yes. Yeah, you were talking
Yeah.
about. Yep. I'll let you explain because I don't remember exact details.
Yeah, so there's this really cool organization here in Arizona called Produce on Wheels Without Waste. And they rescue produce from the farmers that the farmers can't sell at the grocery store. So they don't have a very long shelf life, but they're still good to eat. And they might not look as pretty, but they're still good to eat. And you can get 60 pounds, or I think maybe they've increased it. It's like 60 pounds of produce for $10, and you're allowed to buy 2 lots of it if you wanted. So you could technically get like 120 pounds for $20. And they encourage you to get to go ahead and buy that and then distribute it to other people, like in your neighborhoods or whatever. And so they have these truckloads of food, but the same people who need that level of help are the same ones who have transportation issues, right? They can't necessarily get to the different distribution sites to get to the food, right? Which is one of the reasons why they encourage people to share. But I was thinking we could do maybe a 501c3 version of Uber Eats that will specifically take orders, and there's nothing specific about the order. You're buying produce and you fill up the basket and then take it to you, and you might have to pay you might have to pay twice as much for it, but that's still an incredibly good deal, right?
Yeah, especially transportation, right? If you're
And if it's a 501c3, we could accept donations to help distribute it. So
I think this is a great idea. I would be so on board for this. I just in general, like, this is communal helping right there. This sounds very exciting.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
Thomas, what were
should
your
just, like,
ideas?
Mine was a coffee. It was kind of like a market, like a
I
blue
remember.
bottle for blue
Yes.
bottle for like coffee, independent coffee girls. But I just, like I explained, I have all these questions in mind. Like, is distribution even a problem for them? So, but
Well, get out of the
Connie seems to
building
be
and
like,
ask.
yeah, but I'm already out of the building and asking about a separate project. So I'm like, I can't be getting out of the building.
You can't do that out
for 2 minutes. I'll be no time bubbling at all. But I think this idea is really cool because like you notice that like perhaps maybe people are dealing with transportation issues, and I think that's a good thing to test in general.
Yeah.
It's like we don't have anything to lose by building on Bubble.
Yep.
So there'd have to be there's a strong element of location data.
Yeah, but not really, because it's not. So the cool thing about this is that it's not. Well, there's definitely location data because you need to know where you're going to deliver it. But I don't feel like a strong need in my idea that you would need real-time updating of where people are and what they're like doing. Like you'd have to do route plans, right? We'd have to figure out some way of like routing them, or maybe we don't. Maybe they just have a list of people in the same zip code.
Could we, for the sake of, since we're just having the conversation now, just quick scope? Do you have time for that? Just like
Sure.
a 10-minute scope?
Yeah. So let's scope
We might
it
as well just
in
take action right now.
workflow. So what do we want to call it? Produce on wheels without waste delivered. They call it
Preel. No.
Pow
Pow wow.
Ooh,
Pow wow wow.
delivered.
It's
Oh,
funny
what
because with
happened?
names, it's like the last thing I think about when it comes to like any idea I work on. I'm like, once I have a product or something, I'm sure
Yeah,
the name
then
will
you
be
name it.
important. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure then
All
I'll
right.
create something then.
Okay, so there's going to be admin, there's going to be drivers, and there's going to be buyers. So these are our user types. So in the admin,
So we'll probably have a post data type where something along the lines like that.
A
Or you
post?
connect the buyer and the driver. No.
then what we would have an order.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Order would have probably, I mean, it's really the same thing, but you could get two. So maybe order just has an amount. Or we can do a line item.
Not really sure the difference, to be honest. If you can repeat that again.
Yeah, I'm just thinking in terms of like the order forms, like if people want one order or two orders, totaling up their orders, how you figure that all out. So
I guess maybe like if they just make sure I understand, like maybe they order something and they want to add a top of it later, or like
no, so there's only one thing they can order, but they could order up to two of them.
oh yeah, then I think it's a good idea to have for sure. Like, maybe you want 5 potatoes, you don't want 1 potato.
Right. Well, we're not like we wouldn't have since you don't know what's there until you get
for sure.
there. There's no way to
Okay.
say I want this or that. So I'm not thinking of any kind of customization. I'm thinking
okay.
take as much
Is
as they
there-
offer of each thing, and you end up with 60 to 70 pounds of produce. And then if you want 2 orders of that, you would end up with twice that amount of produce.
So there won't be an aspect where the person putting onto the app that this is available, there's not going to be a count. We're not logistically counting things out.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha. That makes
Yep.
sense.
And
So
then,
then maybe the line items,
yeah. Order line item. Routes. Something like figuring out like, because that's going to be the trickiest part of this app is telling the drivers where to go to minimize their driving.
Is there like a specific plugin that we could probably use, or?
Probably. So we could do some research around that.
Leafy maps? No, Leafy maps isn't. I'm not sure if Leafy maps would be useful in this case.
Leafy maps.
I've heard
So-
Google Maps is really expensive, so that seems like out of the equation.
But if we went the 501c3 route, we could probably get really good deal.
Yeah. Oh, what do you
Yeah.
mean by good deal?
Like Google Maps might be expensive for an enterprise, but if you're a 501c3 and they know, like you can go
Where
and
you get priority.
yeah, they probably like make it less expensive.
Gotcha.
Because if you're trying to feed hungry people.
Yeah, for sure. It's a charitable thing.
So, yeah, I don't know how to look that up.
Business. Yeah.
Routes or no.
I can
Wait.
do a little research on that later. I'll note that.
Yeah,
See if I
definitely.
can come up with anything.
Like, and
later.
there's got to be URL router. No, that's not it.
Jade, do you have any? Have you used any like map
For route
related
planning?
things? Yeah.
Yeah, there's not There's nothing there, so I'd have to look it up, but probably there's some sort of API you can tap into. You can send in a list of addresses and they'll send in like a route, right? So that's got to exist somewhere.
Yeah.
So just matter of figuring out which API is the most reasonable and will work. But yeah, we have to figure out how we're going to route drivers.
I mean, I think that sounds complicated.
That does sound
I
complicated.
mean, it is complicated, but that's why you would do it through an API and not try to do it yourself. Right? But like there are lots of different apps out on the market that are figuring out the shortest, routes and stuff for people. So
Yeah, I'll see if I can find an API. I'll do a little research tonight.
yeah, and so there's going to be,
Okay.
in terms of like the pages, so this is database. This might be territory rather than routes. And
territory
then
would that be just location?
for each driver, so like you would split up the territories across drivers, or maybe one territory would have more than one driver.
Who are these drivers?
Hmm.
Are they volunteers? Or they? Who
Not
are
sure
they?
yet.
Hmm.
We might pay them. It depends. I mean, probably you'd have to compensate at least for like gas, right? And probably mileage, even if they were volunteers, because I don't intend to build out a fleet for it. Pages, so there would be an admin portal, there would be a sales page, then the account where you could see your previous orders, and then driver portal. So the driver reports to a location, picks up their orders, goes out and delivers through their territory. It might even go back for more if there's more. The sales page would have to organize it with how. Yeah, this I was thinking about database, and thus I'm thinking about pages. So
There's an app. I can't remember what it's called. It's called something Chip, I think. And it's for when tree cutters like remove your neighbor's tree. You know how they bring a wood chipper and they chip it up and then they take the truck away with the chips.
Mhm.
Well, they have to take that to the dump and it costs them a lot of money. And it also takes them time. But people like me who like mulch, and mulch is super expensive, we need a lot of it, they can go on the app and they can say, hey, I want wood chips. And then the next time a tree cutting service is in your neighborhood, then they can say, hey, someone down the street 2 blocks over wants these chips. So after they load them in their truck, they take them to your house, they dump them in the driveway, and off they go.
Nice.
And I'm thinking that idea that people who are kind of already going somewhere could sign up and then, hey, I'm heading across town today. I'm right near that place. I can stop and get 60 pounds of produce in the back of my wagon.
Yeah, there's an app that I forget what it's called, but it allows, like, it's for the blind to be able to connect with a seeing person via FaceTime to show them things and get the seeing person's like answers to questions. And they have this like huge database of people who have volunteered to be the eyes on the other end of that. And they just ring you up and see if you're available when the person who needs your help needs the help. So like, we could potentially have a database of people who've said that they volunteered to do this, and then ring them up the week before or whatever, or ring
Send like a mass
even
text. You could send like a mass text, like who's available.
Yeah, send it out to everyone, and then
Yeah.
when you have enough people, you just you turn it off.
Prioritize it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Or like whoever's like closest to the location. I feel like you get real specific with it. I mean, that'll probably be very hard because you got to track that.
yeah. So anyway, it's just an idea. I just thought that was really cool that there's so many people who are like signed up to help that I
feel
hardly
like
ever
these
got
things are-
any calls.
I feel like things charitable, like people are willing to do things that are for good.
Yeah.
So like just money isn't much of a driver in these cases.
So pages, admin portal, sales page, account.
Who are the people who want these vast amounts of produce?
People who can't afford produce at the
Yeah,
store.
you know, it's
and-
they're growing up in Seven Corners, Virginia. There was a lot of Hispanic communities that would have like these churches would roll up in these vans and they would have boxes of food, and these people literally waited for hours outside. Like,
Yeah, what
I'll never forget that.
I'm in Baltimore. We have a few left. Arabers. They're pony carts. There's actually a pony. There's actually a cart full of produce, and they drive through West Baltimore. You might have seen them on the wire. My point, but my question wasn't, are people hungry? My question was, is it through churches? Is it individuals? Like, how is the logistics?
Yeah, so a lot of the distribution sites are in church parking lots, and then the people who are standing in line, there's actually a good mix. People who want vegetables because they eat a lot of vegetables, and this is a really good deal. And then the people who like, they don't necessarily care if it's vegetables, but they're hungry. So there's variation in the people who are standing there in the lines, but my thought is that the people who need that food and actually need that price to be so low, a lot of them can't even get there. And they know that, and that's why they have so many distribution sites. They don't just put it all in one place. They put it at like 5 different places. And the places, and they switch up the places every week, right? They go to different places every week, but as you know, you have to eat every day, not just.
I've started to see here in Philadelphia little, like, literally fridges left outside of free food. Like literally just checkpoints where you have like a closet of food.
Yep.
And they just keep storing it. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I've seen a concept, the little libraries. We have one on our street. It's so cute.
Oh my God.
They have this
everywhere.
they just have this little stand, like little box with the and it's really cute. They've done it really well. I'll take a picture of it.
We have them around here too. I think they're all over the country.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so
they
cute.
came out of nowhere. I remember like there was like one, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then all of a sudden, like every neighborhood has like a few. They're starting to have similar kind of like wooden styled libraries. They have like wooden styled little fridges. I remember I saw one not too long ago, and I ended up getting, just out of curiosity, I ended up looking in there, and I saw like a type of salsa that I've never seen before. I was like, all right, I'll grab this. And I was like, this is pretty cool.
Huh.
So for the purposes of this particular app, what do you, I mean, it seems to me that that churches and food kitchens are great distribution
right.
points or logistical points.
Probably like homeless shelters, maybe.
Where do
Yeah,
they
people
get
like-
vegetables now? To those kinds of organizations, they must have, connections where they get food. It can't all come from donations, can it?
I know here when I did Startup Weekend, I was just talking to two organizations. I forget that off the top of my head, but they were essentially, they were like nonprofits that would get the food and essentially connect with these communities catering to lower wage communities, right? So maybe probably seeking out nonprofits that specialize in this sorts of things.
Yeah.
Full Abundance is one of them here in Philadelphia. Actually, was one that I spoke to.
So probably there are people who would be willing to pay for the delivery so that we could take that as like,
Gotcha. Maybe the
and help
organization
people
would be the
who-
ones paying for the delivery, right?
yeah. So like have an application so that people who haven't applied, they pay full price for delivery, which can cover someone else. So,
Oh yeah, sure. You could even have a like donate for another person, like
yep, donate for another person.
like, you
Okay.
you pay for this person's like service fee.
Yeah. That's
And
like
you
coffee
make-
and
Yeah,
suspension.
exactly. It's like you pay $10 and you're feeding this family, and then they get, that money is routed to whatever portion is routed to the driver, and then the rest into the food, and
Yeah.
then obviously it just gets to the person. I feel like you get real creative with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Is the point of this is you're thinking of this as a nonprofit app, obviously. So you literally don't want to make, I mean, not that nonprofit means not making profit, but in this case, you actually don't care at all about the profit.
Nope, this is a social, like, I forget the
It's
term
just to
of
be a
it,
good
but
person and make the world a better place.
yeah,
So-
this is
okay.
all about making the world a better place. Yeah.
And this is just about the business model, but in my opinion, it would be worth thinking about rather than trying to get individuals to sign up to drive and then maybe get reimbursed. It would be probably worth thinking about to get a network of churches involved and other organizations like that. Because, every church has a bunch of active community members, and the pastor and those active people, they might be looking for good works to do, and you can get them to sign up to agree every Tuesday. And then that church does it on Wednesday, and they just kind of work together.
Yeah. Yeah. And you could also even just, because the churches where this is held in their parking lots, it's already the church members who are running it that weekend. Right.
There you go. It's already
So
church
it's
connected.
already so you could ostensibly even go there and you could even go there and recruit for drivers from the people standing in line, right? Like you could sign them up from there because they're already there. Like if one person just agrees to take it to one other person, right? Like
I would do that. No problem.
I would totally do
That's what I'm
that.
saying. I would
Like
be
if
so about
somebody,
that.
yeah, if I'm standing in line and I'm all excited, I'm getting my produce and they said, hey, would you mind driving this a few miles to this other person who can't make it today? I'd be like, absolutely. And I would take the
Yeah.
address and I'd take it and just drop it off like my DoorDash person drops my food off all the time. So I feel like I've been advertising for DoorDash lately.
Hey, you guys, my first spreadsheet finally uploaded
Yeah.
after so many errors.
Oh
Thrilled.
gosh.
Thrilled.
So,
Only 9 more.
yes, 9 more to go. You got this.
At least I know what to look for
Godspeed.
now.
Awesome. Well, I will reach out to the lady who started Powwow, and maybe somebody else organizes it now or whatever. And just say, hey, is this even something that you'd be interested in collaborating with us on? Yeah, and go from there.
I can start just rapid prototyping this if you want the pages. Do you
Sure.
have like a style you want to focus on?
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, like,
No,
you-
I don't. I guess because in order for us to do this, we would have to be involved in collaborating with the actual Produce on Wheels
Okay,
Without
fair
Waste.
enough. Okay.
And they have no idea. We are not affiliated with them. For anybody who happens to be watching, we are not. This is just an idea of mine. And then, but you could take a look and see what they're all about. And then I'll go ahead and create the app and move it to the agency plan so we can build without worries. And then I'll add you to it, Thomas.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
You know, get to it.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, that turned into fun at the end. Like it was
Productive.
always fun talking to you, but like I always get excited when I start building something new. So
Yeah, for sure. There's this thing called, I remember I was touching into history during COVID, the beginning, just kind of obsessed over it. And I came across Benjamin Franklin's Junto idea, which is where he would communally work with other people who are ambitious and wanted to do things, and he managed to bring about the, you know, the fire station and the first subscription library, and all these things came about, all these ideas that were useful to people and charitable because, you know, they gathered and worked together to build these ideas. So I tried to find that here. It wasn't so easy, unfortunately. But yeah, cool stuff.
Got it. Awesome. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up office hours for today, but we will be back tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific time. If you would like to join us for a complimentary session, please go ahead and comment on the Facebook Live now, or you can, if you're watching the replay, you can go ahead and comment on the replay in YouTube. Or you can email us at team@CoCreativeNoCode.com and we'll send you credentials so you can join us. You're free to bring any questions. You're also free to say hello when we're doing these. You can go ahead and like and share and say hello, ask any questions. We do monitor the comments as we're working live on Facebook. So if you ever had any questions you wanted to ask, you can ask them there. Thank you again for joining Sheshadri, Thomas, Jay, and Kim, and I will see you tomorrow.
Have a great afternoon.
See ya.
Bye.